Hi guys, welcome to Couple with Michelle. I am currently in Bali, in Seminyak in Bali at the Marriott, Courtyard Marriott. So we're by the poolside. I got my son here, and that's the pool. And we're just chilling today. So let's just wait a few minutes so we can see um, and give people a chance to just jump in. It's been well, it's not been a while. I've missed, I believe, a couple with Michelle sessions, and it's because we've been preparing a few things on our platform for the Get Certified Coach. So we have a coaching platform that I will be speaking with you guys shortly today. But grab your drink, grab a cup of coffee, cup of tea. But because it's so humid here, I've got a mango juice, so I'm gonna top this up in a bit. But grab a drink and let's talk about health. Health and wellness is something that we really need to focus on, especially in this time when people are very afraid of what COVID is doing everywhere. I mean, there are vaccines that are now available, although not yet available for everyone. And because of that, a lot of people are panicking and thinking, oh, when is it going to be my turn? But it shouldn't be that. If you actually realize or learn that the plants around you can turn into medicinal plants. Sorry, just give me a sec. Satu lagi.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mango
mango.
juice.
Yeah.
Makasih. And if you are able to get the skills to actually turn your plants into your medicinal sources, and if you can learn how to identify weaknesses, your weaknesses or the weaknesses of people around you, then it will be easy to actually boost your health. So I have been a naturopath, an iridologist, a herbalist, a nutritionist, and have been practicing that for a while. And I now, I have been teaching people how to boost their health naturally. So instead of worrying about the virus when it started, instead of worrying about when is the vaccine coming, we started being more proactive in identifying, okay, what are our current weaknesses? Because if you have a weakness, now's the time to actually boost those weaknesses so your immune system doesn't drop. You need to have a high immune system, and boosting your immune system will also prevent you from copying the virus badly. Now I know there are people who have copied it bad, and we're talking about like health, strong, healthy people. But health is subjective. What what might seem healthy for some isn't quite the same thing for others. And why am I saying this? We all have our genetic weaknesses, we all have our constitutional weaknesses. Unless you understand what those are, it's going to be very hard to identify how to boost those weaknesses. Now, one of the things that's not difficult but very few people know is to actually use your eyes in identifying what your strengths and weaknesses are. So, in our platform, we've got an iridology course that parents or individuals can jump into to learn how to identify the weaknesses in their families, in themselves. These courses are uh, can cater to have catered to individuals, but these courses are also courses that can give you say certification in iridology if that is something that you want to do. The courses also provide you with a membership to the International Iridology Practitioners Association, which is something really important so that you get up to date, updated with information on iridology, on how to identify strengths and weaknesses, and so on and so forth. So, if you have a way to identify the weaknesses, if you have a way to boost those weaknesses, then worrying about what may or may not happen or what may or may not affect you isn't going to be such a big thing. Now, we partner our iridology courses with herbal medicine and nutrition courses so that you can learn how to create your own medicinal herbs. We've had a lot of workshops through the years teaching people how to create their own immune boosting herbs from home. So you now don't need to pay for a lot of money to actually, um, you don't need to pay for a lot of money to actually learn how to, or to have access to good, strong medicinal herbs. You can actually now create it if you jump into those workshops and learn how to do it yourself. Remember that all these tools have been passed on from generation to generation. All these tools of using what's growing around you has been done by our, by our ancestors. Generations of herbalists have, you know walked this earth since, uh, you know god, many hundreds of years ago. So why don't we use those right now? Equip ourselves so that we always have access to good, healthy foods, good, strong medicinal herbs, and know how to identify the weaknesses and know exactly what you're going to be using for certain weaknesses that are identified, right? Hey, Matthew, inbox me for your accurate reading now and spell. I'm not sure what you mean by spell. Your accurate reading. I'll inbox. I can inbox you the link to the courses. It will actually also be in the description when we finish this couple with Michelle. But let's talk about what that means for a minute here. So, when you, for example, have family members who have been chronically sick, or who have had asthma, who have psoriasis, eczema, and so on and so forth, they are reliant on a lot of medications. And when you are on a lot of medications, you are more prone to have a weakened immune system. Knowing what those weaknesses are will help you also identify how you can support them in terms of medicinal plants, in terms of foods that you can have, as well as in terms of what plants you can start preparing from home and have available. So, when we talk about people who don't have specific weaknesses but are worried about getting, oops, sorry, getting access. If you don't want to, sorry, not access. If you're worried about getting hit by a virus, by a condition, by COVID, then it is important to actually be able to identify what his weaknesses are constitutionally that will affect you, what your constitutional weaknesses are, what your genetic weaknesses are, so that you can now cater to those and strengthen those organs that you have, by first identifying them, and then second, providing for the herbs, the foods that they need, your body needs to actually be able to be healthy and strong. Sorry, I know that it's a little bit loud here because of me being in a rest. It's actually the restaurant slash bar near the pool, and it's just a nice place to relax when you're here in Bali. I'm just going to quickly look at. I think I've got questions here. Let me just see so that I can answer the questions that are coming up. Give me a sec. Okay. So I've got this one running to just see. All right, cool, cool. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so just type up your questions and then we'll respond to your questions. Okay, yep. So just type up all your questions and then we'll go through them as we discuss the different topics. So let's talk about a specific case that I've been helping someone with. I have a client who has been suffering from eczema and psoriasis. And because of that problem, they are more immunocompromised. They have been on steroids for a while and they just want to start boosting their immune system and not have to be reliant on the steroids, so that their body starts building itself up, the immune system starts building itself up, and they don't have to be compromised in this time during COVID. So what we did was we actually started identifying what the symptoms are, well, what they've been feeling, understanding what the history is, but also doing an iris analysis to see what else was going on. See, no matter what your issues are, what your weaknesses are, or your no matter what you're compromised with, if you're chronically sick, if you're chronically tired, if you're chronically unable to sleep, and so on and so forth, there's always an underlying reason. And identifying the underlying reason can always be a bit tricky. So if you're able to actually look into someone's eyes, or if you could have somebody take a photo of your eyes and identify what those weaknesses are, then you can start, building up those weaknesses. So with the specific person that we were talking about, we actually found that she had gut issues and a liver issue compounding her biggest problem. Now, you have to remember that if there's an issue with your gut and if your liver doesn't detoxify properly, that can be a really good reason why you got eczema or psoriasis. Now, a lot of naturopaths say, and we do believe, I'm a naturopath, we believe that if the constitution, if your gut isn't healthy, that translates into how your outside looks like, how your skin looks like, how your hair is, how the pigmentations are on your skin, and so on and so forth. So it makes sense that she has a weak gut with her eczema issue, with her also not having a strong liver, or genetically weak liver. It also means that her body doesn't detoxify properly. And what does your skin do? Your skin detoxifies, it gets rid of toxins. So, knowing those two things, we were able to identify how we would create a treatment protocol for the patient and how we could help them through medicinal herbs, through nutrition, through supplements. Now, if you have that knowledge for identifying the weaknesses in your eyes, you can do that with your family, with your children, with your friends, right? Especially now when everyone's afraid to go to the doctor and everyone's afraid to go into a hospital because there are so many sick people. You have a way. You are empowered by the tool to be able to identify what your genetic strengths and weaknesses are. Now, in knowing what your genetic weaknesses are, you can now identify herbal remedies that you can start taking, and identifying remedies and learning how to create them from home, and learning how to create medicinally strong herbal medicine is really important. It's not difficult because it's something that, again, generations and generations have done before. You just need to know how it's done, how to prepare the herbs, what specific herbs to use, how to create the extracts, and so on and so forth. What can be made into extracts, what can be used as pills, as tea, as infusions, and so on and so forth. So, you know, there's a lot of things that we realize we have not been able to have full control of, and one of that is being able to identify our strengths and weaknesses and being able to create our own medicine. Now we are providing that to you through our courses so that you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to feel like you're limited, and you don't have to feel like, okay, I gotta find out first. Now, where is this useful? Where's another thing, sorry, that this is useful for? When you're dealing with babies, when you're dealing with children, people that can't communicate and tell you what's wrong with them, you know, it's really important to be able to check and diagnose through their iris what's going on. Once you diagnose and identify what the weaknesses are, then you can help them. Although diagnosing isn't a word that we usually use, I mean, it's a word I'm using to just explain what you can do with people that actually can't communicate properly. We don't really diagnose an illness, we identify weaknesses. So, for example, with this person who had eczema, if the person had not told me about the eczema, or if it's not something that's visible through the skin that I'm able to see, looking at the iris photo that we took of this person, I would have been able to identify that this was a possible issue because of the weaknesses that that person showed in the iris photo. So that's how you can use it. Babies who cry so much, or unsettled babies, because they can't explain what's causing them to be so upset, it's a really good thing to be able to identify what the weaknesses are, what they're struggling with, right? Some babies, because of how they come out of the womb, need just some alignment of their spine, and you can actually see the spine through an iris photo as well. Some of them have difficulty digesting their proteins, which means that they will have some difficulty digesting, um, for example, formula. They would be babies that are better off with breast milk, for example. So, you know, having all this information, I think, is really crucial during this time. Knowing how to remedy a situation, an illness, a weakness, being able to identify what the other weaknesses are that are contributing to an illness is quite crucial. So, I will be sharing the link here. Go check it out. I think it's really important for everyone to have a go and have a look at learning how to look at the iris and identify weaknesses and strengths. I think it's important for everyone to know how to strengthen those weaknesses with their food, as well as how to strengthen those weaknesses with medicinal plants that you create and you prepare yourselves. I hope that's helped. I can't do a very long cuppa with my hands up, but enjoy your cup of coffee. This is my mango juice that I'm enjoying right now. Have fresh juices, fresh foods, medicinal plants. Make your food your medicine. Plant your food. Those are the things that are really important during this time. And breathe. Breathe fresh air. Get some sunlight. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.